to another try of my Refresh with DawnHerring broadcasts on Periscope. My apologies to the one person who had joined me live. I am not able to take my to put my phone on like where nobody calls me kind of thing, because then it cuts me off from the internet and then I can't use Periscope, so that's why I got interrupted with a phone call. Unfortunately, my apologies for that. But welcome to this Refresh with DawnHerring broadcast, where the creative spirit comes to life. Yes, and I'm very excited to have a really cool topic to discuss with you today about your creative self. And I do want to remind you that if you want to contact me or go to my website is DawnHerring.net. That's where you can find my my Refresh Daily blog and my intuitive watercolor painting DawnHerring Collection Art Gallery. You can go and view my paintings there. And there is an action box right on my homepage if you scroll down just a little bit, and that's where all of the good stuff is. So you can just go to those links and click on whatever it is you want to do while you're there. And then I also wanted to share with you my email address in case you want to contact me direct at refreshwithdawnherring@gmail.com. This is where you can talk to me about your creative practice. You can also contact me about the open house that I'm hosting right now for Journal Chat Live, where you can contribute a blog post that shares your journaling or art journaling story and how. Oh, thank you for coming back on. I didn't see your name when you came on, so I'm not sure who is on live with me, but welcome to this live broadcast. I also want to welcome replay viewers to this broadcast. Don't want to forget that. So yeah, refreshwithdawnherring@gmail.com is where you can contact me direct. Now I'm going to switch back to me. There we go. Hello, everybody. Glad to be with you today. And I'm DawnHerring. Hello, Sarah. Great to have you back on a Periscope broadcast. Wonderful to have you live. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm DawnHerring, founder of Refresh with DawnHerring, where the creative spirit comes to life. Hey, and thank you so much. You're welcome. And I am here to talk about creativity today. I am an intuitive watercolor artist, an avid journal keeper, and art journal keeper, and I also love to doodle, which is another fun thing I do. But today's topic is about our creative selves and investing time in ourselves. Okay, Rhiannon Connolly. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Thank you so much for joining me live today. Wonderful to have you. I'm going to be talking about Hi, how are you? Yes, exactly. Oh, well, thank you. Well, you can share the proper pronunciation if you want to, and I'll see if I can figure it out. But anyway, today's topic, yeah, right? Today's topic is about our creative selves and whether or not we're nurturing our creative selves or whether we're neglecting our creative selves. We don't like the word neglect. No, it's not a fun word. But at the same time, I feel like it's something that we need to talk about because it is so common for us to not even know that that's what we're doing because we're not giving ourselves the attention that we deserve. Yes, exactly. Now, before I get started on my points concerning this topic, you're welcome to share this broadcast with your followers, either on Periscope, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you want to do, so that other people that you think would benefit from talking about creativity and nurturing your creative self, if they could benefit from that, if you could share that, that'd be wonderful. And also, if you agree and really appreciate the points that I'm making, you are more than welcome to tap the screen for some hearts. Yes. So I just wanted to say that before I get started on what we want to discuss here. So one of the things that I love to do is talk about creativity. And I personally have a creative practice that entails journaling, art journaling, doodling, watercolor painting, and walks, and reading good, inspiring books that keep me going creatively. And so I'm always looking to encourage people to build their own creative practice. And that does not necessarily mean it has to be visually creative, meaning like you don't necessarily have to paint or draw or, create music or dance or anything like that. It can be anything you want it to be. Anything. So, thanks so much for the hearts. Appreciate that. It can be anything you want it to be. Anything at all. As long as you're happy and you're inspired and it's lifting your spirit and making you feel fabulous. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about here. Now for today's topic, I want to talk about the two words nurture and neglect. I actually looked up the definitions of each word to really get some clarity on the difference between one and the other. And I think that will probably help to establish a foundation of what we can be doing versus what we may be doing now. Okay? So here's the beginning of where I want to start. First, I want to talk about what neglect actually means. And it simply says to pay no attention to or not enough attention to something. Yes. Basically, to pay no attention or not enough attention to something. That's basically what neglect is. Now, when you look out on the other side of it, when you see nurture, the definition of nurture is to nourish, to keep something alive and well, and to cherish. Oh my goodness, what a contrast, right? Thank you so much for the heart. What a contrast. So the question that we have to be looking at is, am I neglecting or am I nurturing my creative self? That's a question that can be really powerful to ask yourself. Like at the end of the day, you've done everything you're going to do and you go to bed at night and you say to yourself, did I neglect or nurture my creative self today? That is really food for thought. I think that's food for thought. It's really great for me to answer that question myself, whether in my journal or just thinking about it in my mind and just really deeply consider, the importance of taking good care of yourself, and that creative self is part of who you are. And when we don't give it enough attention, then it suffers. And I believe that when you don't take the time to nurture that creative part of you, that it can have negative impact on you in other areas of your life. It can even have an impact on you in your business or in your relationships or, in any category of your life, really. It doesn't matter. I believe that when you nurture that creative self, that it actually has a very positive impact on your mindset, on your attitude, and on your relationships with others and in your business, etc. It's amazing to me how much of a difference I notice when I take that time to nurture my creative self. And I think it's a matter of mindset, how you're thinking about it, as well as your action. It's not just action oriented, it can also be how you're thinking about it. Are you thinking in terms of loving yourself and taking care of yourself? Because that's what self-care is taking care of yourself. And not just, your physical body and, your basic everyday needs. It's also talking about your emotional self and your the way you view yourself, how you see your value. And I believe that when we give that nurture to our creative selves, that it makes a complete difference in how we see ourselves. Because when you take that time to invest in yourself in this year of 2016, that it actually helps you recognize your value and it lifts your vibration, and it has such a positive impact on how you experience your everyday life. That's kind of where I'm at with that issue of neglect versus nurture. Now, I wanted to give an example that I've mentioned here on Periscope before, but I think it bears repeating. A couple of years ago, when I was really starting to do more watercolor painting on watercolor paper outside of my art journal, I decided that I wanted to start doing paintings outside of my art journal. And I was doing it, but I wasn't doing it very often, and I found myself really enjoying the process, but I felt like I was neglecting it. It wasn't frequent enough for me, and I knew that it was something that I needed to do more of. And after thinking about it for a while, I realized that I was neglecting myself as a creative person by not giving myself enough time to do the very things that I enjoy the most. So I decided to do it every day. I determined I'm going to paint every day, no matter what, unless, of course, I get ill or, circumstances out of my control where I'm not able to be there to paint. But, in an everyday way, that's pretty much what I've been doing. And thank you so much for the hearts. And I've been doing this now for probably, I would say, at least 2 years. Yeah. And I have been really surprised with how faithful I have been to that goal. And I know why. Because I know how much I enjoy it. I know what it does for me creatively. And I know that it makes me feel like I'm doing what I should be doing for my creative self. It just makes me feel like I'm right where I need to be with it. And it helps me get more ideas. It inspires me to keep going. It has even inspired me to go bigger. I started off with these really small paintings, like this big, like 5x8. And then I went up to a 9x12 for a little while. And now I'm on an 18x24. Yes. So I have actually expanded my experience in my watercolor painting because I have given it that much time, because I've given it at least 5 minutes every day. Thank you so much for the hearts. Every day I've gotten to it at least 5 minutes every day. And sometimes I do 15, sometimes I do a half an hour, sometimes I even do it for an hour in one sitting. You've done the same with your writing. Exactly. When you do it consistently every single day, you will notice that when you apply yourself in whatever creative fashion that you want to, it doesn't matter what it is, you get better at what you do, you increase your skills, and you find yourself growing as a person, not only on your creative self, but in all the other areas of your life too, because then you have something to talk about. You can connect with other people who are doing the same thing that you're doing, which is really fun. It totally adds a whole new dimension of enjoyment and of refreshment in your life. And who doesn't want that, right? So the question you want to ask yourself when you go to bed, or when you want to write in your journal in the evenings, if you do that, which I do, I happen. You agree that daily is the way to go. Thank you so much for that. Yes, exactly. Daily is the way to go, even if it's just 5 minutes. You may not think you can do a lot in 5 minutes, but you can actually do a lot in 5 minutes. Think about that. How much can I do in 5 minutes, right? Well, I mean, the point is not so much how much can I get done. It's a matter of how much time can I relax and just totally zone into the moment of aligning with my creativity and doing something that just hits the spot for me. Yes. And once you start doing that on a daily basis, you will find yourself getting into somewhat of a routine, not in a rut, but in a routine where you start to look forward to those times when you're going to be creative. Even if you go for a walk, or go for a hike, or go fishing, or go bake a cake, or go play with Play-Doh, like I've mentioned before. Any way that you can be creative that aligns you with who you are as a person, and that inspires you and makes you feel your value. Because we all have value, we all have a creative self. Yeah, I know, right? I just thought I would throw that in there, since kids love to play with Play-Doh, and they sometimes make some slamming good stuff, if you ask me. So why not, right? Get back to your childhood self if you need to do that, if that's what it will take for you to do something fun. That's exactly what I say. Get out your colored pencils and go get an adult coloring book if that's what you want to do. There's always something that you can be doing that will make a difference in how you feel at the end of your day. And then you can write it in your journal. You can write down what you did in your journal and say, I had so much fun today doing this, this, and this, or whatever it is you want to record, and just talk about how much it made you happy and the fact that you want to go back and do it again. So we don't want to neglect our creative selves. No, we don't, because when we do that, we get kind of irritable and upset, and we get kind of burned out after a while because we're do without caring for ourselves, and without refreshing ourselves, and without renewing ourselves. We need to do that every single day. Just like you get up and brush your teeth and comb your hair and get dressed and go do what you have to do as far as earning your living or keeping your house in order or taking care of your kids or whatever it is you're doing. It doesn't matter. You need to put that spot of refreshment in your day, just like you do everything else. And if you want to do it in the early part of the day, if that's where you have the most energy or the most time, maybe, where you feel like it's a little bit freer, do it in the morning. If you feel like you have to wait until lunchtime, then do it during your lunch break. If you feel like, oh, well, I can't really focus and concentrate unless I have all my work done, well, then do it in the evening. 5 minutes in the evening, do something fun. And even if you choose to do it with someone else, that'll work too. If you have a spouse that you want to refresh with, go ahead, go do something with your spouse. Or with your kids even, do something fun with them. And maybe you'd rather go to bed 30 minutes later so you can have me time than none at all. That's a really good point. Just make sure you get enough sleep. Because getting enough sleep is actually an imperative for self-care. You definitely want to get enough sleep. But yes, sometimes it can help to stay up just a little bit later to do something that you love, Absolutely. You have to find the time in your day where it feels good, where it feels like it just aligns and you're like, yeah, I can do it during this time. And then put it on your schedule so you don't forget. Or put it on your phone as a reminder. There you go. I actually have been using the reminder on my phone for other things. So I don't forget to do stuff. And that's a great way to do it. Put it in your reminder and have it come up on your screen and say, have you refreshed yourself today? Yeah, there you go. Have you nurtured your creative self? Ask the question and use that as a reminder. You can do that too. You never know where that will lead. And so I'm going to encourage, you need to get back to using my phone for that. Yeah, there you go. It's like you don't just, I know we're all using our phones because we all have things that we do on our phones, whether it's texting or getting on the internet or whatever it is we're doing. We can use our phone to be our companion, if you will, or our assistant. There you go. Use your phone as an assistant for your refreshment. Yeah, you can actually put a reminder on there saying, have you refreshed yourself today? Or have you nurtured your creative self today? And just have that as a reminder so that you can say, yeah, I know. Thank you. I'm glad you like that too, Sarah. I think it's a great idea for somebody who may not already have something going and they need encouragement and a reminder and, oh, that's right. I need to go do that now. And do it when it comes up on your screen and don't wait so that you don't put it off and then say, oh, well, I guess I didn't get around to it today. Now, don't beat yourself up if you skip it. But the more you do it, the more frequent you are with it, the better it gets. It actually gets better as you continue on in your creative practice. And it doesn't have to be an obligation. It doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be heavy to you. No. The whole purpose behind creative refreshment is to align with who you are and to really feel and sense your value and your creativity and know that you have a part of yourself that should be nurtured and cared for and cherished, just like you cherish your own child. If you have children, cherishing your own child, it's the same idea. It's like we love our kids, so we need to love ourselves just as much as the other people that we love in our lives. Do you see what I'm saying? Putting yourself in that place where you are showing yourself that inner love that comes from the inside. And when you take the time to do those things every day like that, you will find that love for yourself growing. And it will feel really, really good. And you'll be like, why did I wait so long? So that has been my point and message for today's scope. Always remember to ask yourself the question, am I neglecting or nurturing my creative self? And if you are nurturing yourself, write down how you're doing that today or how you did that today and see where that takes you. You might even have some more ideas of things that you can do, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, and write them down. Write them down in your journal. Oh, I just thought of something else I can do. Yeah, exactly. When those little intuitive impulses come in and start giving you ideas of different things that you can try, following your creative curiosity, whatever it is that you want to do, write it down so you don't forget. Because a lot of times things will come to us and then we'll be like, oh, I forgot to write that down. What was that again? And then we get frustrated because we didn't write it down. So that's why I think it's fabulous to keep an evening, at least an evening journal entry, because then you can at least kind of tune into yourself and see where did I go today? What did I do today? How did I nurture myself? And then you can write it down and say, this is what I did today for myself. And then you can celebrate. You can do a little happy dance and say, hey, I did this for myself today, and I'm going to do it again tomorrow. Or I'll do something else tomorrow that I really enjoy. Yay! You're writing in your journal again. Awesome, Sarah. Love to hear when people get back to their journals. Absolutely. I know it's hard to stay on that sometimes because you may not always have a purpose or an angle or an approach that has worked for you in the past, and sometimes you may drop off and not do it for a while. But when you get back to it again, then you're like, now I'm recording what I'm thinking about, and I have time to nourish myself and to really pay attention to my thoughts and, the direction that I want to go in each day. A journal is a great place to do that. And I do it twice a day myself. I absolutely love keeping a journal. And the way you journal is writing letters to my future. Ooh, I like that idea. Kind of giving you an expanded view. Yay, this is what I want to see when I look down the tunnel where that light is right there, right? This is what I want to see. So I'm kind of looking down there and saying, okay, this is where I want to go. And then you write it down. That is so cool. I love that idea. It's great to have an expansive view. There you go. Yeah, a lot of people use their journals to create memoir. Absolutely. Your nurturing today is to watch the live streaming in half an hour. Oh, there you go. Whatever you choose to do, whatever inspires you and lifts your spirit and just leaves you feeling fabulous. That's what we're talking about. So great. Wonderful ideas you guys have. So remember to ask yourself the question, am I neglecting or nurturing my creative self? And if you're neglecting yourself, maybe you could even jot down what got in the way. Was it the way you were thinking? Were you not thinking of yourself first? Did things come up in your day that you weren't expecting, and so it kind of put it off to the wayside? Sometimes that can happen. Okay. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks for sharing that link. Sounds really cool. So yeah, whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. And, if you use a journal to write down, the experience that you had from each day, and that kind of can give you a way to keep track of where you're at, of any progress that you're making, of any new things that you want to try. And then maybe you can see what resistance you met up with if you didn't have a chance to do something to nurture yourself that day. And then you can figure out what you can do next time. Yay! Sounds wonderful. I'm so glad you have something that you're looking forward to. Anticipation is so huge when it comes to doing something that you really love to do. Have you ever noticed that you get excited when you're anticipating something? Like, oh, I'm going to go watch a movie, or I'm going to go do something really fun right now. I'm going to go do something that really makes me feel good about myself. And you anticipate it, and that gives you a sense of, yay, I have something to look forward to. And then when you get to it, and then you engage in it, and you're totally in the moment with it, losing all track of time. And it's just so much fun. You want to make sure that you have as much fun as possible in your everyday life, because that raises your vibration. There you go. Your graphic designs. That sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like a lot of fun. Yes, anticipation is huge. And then when you actually engage in it, and then you had a great time, and then you're going to do it again the next day. And then you're like, yay, I can't wait till I can get back to that again. And you know what? I find myself thinking about my paintings. Whatever painting I happen to be working on, when I go to bed at night, I sometimes think about it. And I was like, let's see, what am I going to do next time? How am I going to do that? And it just kind of gives you a way to tune into your creative energy and to ideas that may come to you. I know a lot of times you get ideas when you're half asleep, right? Yay! See, you found something that works for you. See, that's the key. To me, finding creative refreshment that is truly authentic to your personality, to your preferences, and even sometimes to your very purpose in life can make that time that you invest in yourself really relevant. Because I think that when it's really relevant, you have more motivation to actually go and do it. Because then you know, well, if I do this, if I invest this time in myself and do this relevant thing for me that I know is something that I should be doing for myself, that makes it even more essential. Because now you know that that's what you want to be doing. See, if you don't really want to be doing it, then you have to look at why. You have to think, go into that mind frame, that mindset that you have, and say, well, why? Why don't I want to be doing something that I really enjoy doing? What's blocking me there? So sometimes it can help to write those things down in your journal and try and figure out where the resistance is coming from. So that is pretty much what I was going to share today and talk about nurturing your creative self and keeping tabs on yourself, if you will, in your journal so that you can see the progress that you're making and what a difference it's making in your everyday experience. Yes, so when you do that, that can really make a big difference in keeping motivated to do it every single day. And always remember to do something that you really enjoy and that you have a lot of fun with. So that's what I was going to share today. And I want to thank you guys for joining me live. I want to thank again the replay viewers that joined me as well. And I thank you for all of the hearts that you gave me today on this broadcast. And I trust that, thank you again for the hearts. I appreciate that. I trust that you will take this to heart and maybe share it with your friends. Yes, there we go. You all have a wonderfully fabulous day doing something that you enjoy doing. Don't forget to refresh yourself, okay? Do something today. And if you want to share with me what you did, you're welcome to contact me at refreshwithdawnherring@gmail.com and let me know. Yes, I would love to know what you're doing creatively because that is so much fun. And I do want to remind you also that I do creative conversations on my Refresh Daily blog. So if you have a thriving creative practice and you want to talk about it with me, I would love to talk to you. Absolutely. And also another reminder, if you want to be part of the Journal Chat Live open house, the only thing you need to do to qualify to do that is have a blog. Have a blog. And if you keep a journal or an art journal,